Ready? Team Bitswift. Thank you, Julie, for putting on the event. First of all, I really appreciate it. Very much thanks to my team, Alex and Elizabeth. Alex did a lot of the work. I must give you praise. Thank you. Here we go. Ready? Hack for Heritage, preserving heritage information for the next generation. As I mentioned before at the beginning, this was all about us preserving this heritage information on our blockchain, as well as integrating aspects of virtual reality and augmented reality into this project that we worked on. So the objective, which I just covered here, preserve heritage information securely and accurately and make it accessible through mediums which engage younger generations. I think it's very important, especially for history and heritage, that we engage the younger people and bring them into it, because really they're the ones that will be appreciating these sites, the locations, the buildings. You know, when we're gone, they'll still be around. And so we have to find a way to preserve that information in the state it was, the way the architecture is, the locations of things, the spelling of things, all of that needs to be preserved. My kids, I know, love VR. I see kids back here who had VR headset on. And if you think of where the world is going, it's definitely going in that direction where education, the whole way you live, I think, will happen in virtual reality. So much so that I wonder if we're in VR right now and don't really realize it, but that's a whole nother topic. So in this project, we use two innovative technologies, blockchain and VR. I've already kind of discussed this. If anybody's curious, you can create your own account on our blockchain, the Bitswift Public Ledger. It's a public blockchain. Everybody can access it. Everybody can access any of the information on it. It's up 100% of the time. It can never go down. Even if my company and me get annihilated, this thing will continue to operate. And that's what's so special, I find, about blockchain. And that's why I believe it makes a good example for preserving information. So Bitswift.network, top right, you can sign in, create your own blockchain account. So I've become kind of a heritage geek within the last 2 weeks, knowing I'm coming to this event. To be honest, I used to be known as Future Boy, but now I might be known as History Boy. There's so much out there that I've just kind of learned about, like all these old buildings that I've been driving by that have these stories to them and this history to them that I really didn't care about at all, because I was never into history, but just researching them and realizing all these different aspects about them, it's really been interesting. One thing I learned was that by law, municipalities have to keep an accurate heritage register, and they need to maintain it. And that spawned this whole thought of like, okay, well, if you need to maintain an accurate register of heritage sites, why not put it on a blockchain? And we'll get into why that might be maybe a good idea. So if you are interested, you can go to that link there, maybe take a picture of it and go to it later. You can actually see the official Kingston City Heritage Register, which is a PDF, but they tell you all the sites, all their addresses, and their designation, whether they're like a World Heritage Site or a National Heritage Site, or just like a railroad building that is of heritage nature. They're all documented in this PDF. And so what we've kind of done is taken this PDF and the information related to these sites and inject them into our blockchain. And we'll get into that shortly. So here's some of the designations. So when a site gets designated as a heritage site, it will either get designated as one of these, so like a World Heritage Site, a National Heritage Site, or it could be a combination of all 3 or 4 or 5 designations. So I think Fort Henry is a World Heritage, National, and a Federal Heritage Building. I'd have to check our decentralized heritage register to make sure that's accurate, but just so you know, different things are classified in different ways.
This is World Heritage, Fort Henry.
Fort Henry?
Yeah.
World Heritage?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's some problems that I've been thinking of, like with the current registry. The current way they do it, basically, it's centralized, meaning the registry is in a central location, it's on a central server, it's maintained probably by a central engineer. So you got maybe server costs, hosting costs, like backups. Obviously you got to maintain backups. I'm not too sure about the transparency of the current registry, like who has access to it, who's authorized to change it, is there any audit trail, can you go back and see exactly at what date and time, maybe an address change or something moved from like World Heritage to just a federal protected building. Basically it all comes down to when you have a centralized means of doing things, usually means closed and not so accessible. One thing I noticed in the centralized registry, there was actually a typo in there. And so if we're preserving heritage information and there's typos in the heritage information, who's to say the typo doesn't get transposed into the latest version of the heritage information? And so Beverly Street spelled with an E now becomes Beverly Street spelled with a Y. And we've lost that heritage information. So what's the point of preserving heritage if we're just gonna lose it? So those were kind of some issues I brainstormed with the current way. You know, maybe they're not issues at all, but just kind of thinking of how it might be currently. So what we did was pick three kind of common sites, Fort Henry, City Hall, and Kingston Penitentiary. All of these sites are currently registered in the municipal registry, and they all have different designations. Something to note here, look how much the Kingston Penitentiary looks like City Hall. I didn't notice that until recently. And I drive by these places every day. So we picked sites that are in this area and obviously kind of the bigger, three of the bigger ones. So the idea was, okay, well, how do we take the registry and import it to the blockchain or format it properly for the blockchain? The blockchain, again, being a distributed ledger that's always on, it's tamper-proof, it's secure, blah, 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 blah. We'll get to those points. My idea was to create a heritage data pack, which basically means take the heritage registry and the information in it and format it in means that makes sense to put on the blockchain, and to format it almost as if it was code. So here's an example heritage data packet for 86 Beverly Street, because I really want to make sure they've kept that E in there. They dropped the Y in the official one. So this would be an example of how we could kind of take that information, throw it on our blockchain, but make it code worthy. So other apps could read it from our blockchain and port it into for their application specific purpose. And so we got like a version number. So if we were to edit this packet, the next version of this packet would be version 2, and so on. Next one would be 3. The address is in there. The name, like the official name they give it, is called Lakeview for this property. The coordinates, and then it's designated, whatever it's designated. So is it a World Heritage site? No, it's not. It's false. Is it a National Historic Site? Yes, it is. True, and so on and so on. Description, and then any other optional information. So if you log into our blockchain and you go to our data cloud, you'll actually see heritage sites kind of injected in there, formatted like this. Here's kind of a screenshot of what our data cloud looks like if you were to use our actual blockchain client. And so the data cloud is used for uploading data to our blockchain. So here we can upload the data, we can give it a name, in this case it's Fort Henry. We can give it a description. Now in the description I just put kind of all that code. It doesn't have to be the code, I could have just put Fort Henry in there again. But there's some other things we can do here for the data cloud to make it more, the information there more searchable, and to index the data. You can tag the data and you can add channels. So we can tag things as like heritage, registered, Kingston, whatever we want to tag it, just so when people are searching for something on our blockchain, it'll pop up right away. They're kind of like a Google search. So we can say, show me everything on channel 6 that's tagged heritage. And we can also guarantee that only the person who holds the key to upload official heritage information would be uploading the information on channel 6 and tagging everything heritage or Kingston or with a specific account. With with their designated heritage publisher's account, if you want to call it that, which no other person would have. Only the person in authority or a group of people in authority would have access to that account. What's cool and what's good to note about this is that the data uploaded to the Bitswift blockchain is distributed among many computers. We don't have a server. There's no server anywhere in-house. This is actually broadcast and stored across, currently there's 1,440 computers. The data goes to all of them at the same time, and they all approve it and see the same thing at the same time, and they all store the exact copy of that data. So there's no way to delete it, there's no way to modify it. The only way, I guess you could, is if you went around and annihilated all these people, took them out, and said, you must really hate heritage at that point, right? On our blockchain, everything costs a fee. The fee is not in Canadian dollars, US dollars, it's in cryptocurrency. The cryptocurrency on our blockchain is Bitswift tokens. So you need to pay in Bitswift tokens to write to our public ledger. Anybody can read for free, so anything you publish there will cost you in Bitswift tokens, but if you want to read things back, absolutely free. There's no cost to read anything. So looking at this and knowing we can publish heritage information, I got a question on the bottom. Well, what other use cases beyond heritage info could you use the data cloud for? Anybody want to take a shot? You're all working on important projects today. What if you wanted to prove before putting it on Twitter and Dropbox and sharing it around that you wanted to prove you created that project? So why wouldn't you upload maybe the hash digest of your project into our blockchain? The hash digest represents your project. At that point, as soon as you do, 1,440 other computers say, yep, we saw that, and yep, that's the hash. And now everybody globally can verify that. And there's no way to contradict that or say it didn't exist at that time. So 10 years from now, somebody's got your work and you're like, hey, I created that. And they're like, well, no, you didn't. You can say, well, guess what? I can prove it. I have the account that published that. I have the hash digest. And 1,440 other people agreed with me on that date and time that that data existed in that state. So it's a very effective way at preserving information, proving ownership of the information. And it's very simple to do as well. Everybody understand these concepts? So what we did to create these data packets, heritage data packets, was actually create a form in Unity. Actually, Alex did, because I know nothing about Unity. And the form basically takes all the heritage information you'd want. So we use the Kingston municipality's heritage register and the information they were taking, and just created a form that asks kind of all the same questions. And you fill in the form, you click, is it World Heritage, National Heritage, is it a railroad station, is it class 4 or 5, whatever, and then you click upload data, and it's out there, it goes. It creates that heritage packet, it injects it into our blockchain. So it's a really cool way anybody could use our blockchain without needing our client or knowing anything about the API or anything. They just use this application, the front end. And you can build front end for anything, for any purpose. Here's the raw data, what a heritage packet actually looks like on our blockchain. And so you can see who sent it, the signature, which would be unique. You can see there the data is actually, that's the data pulled from our chain. So the address, this is actually City Hall, I think. The City Hall at that address, published to the decentralized ledger, and then all the classifications, whether it's whatever type of heritage site it is, and what account actually published that information, and at what time. On the blockchain, we count time by blocks, not by actually like human readable time, but that's another subject. So now is where we kind of get away from like that boring blockchain stuff that half you probably don't even care about anyway. But I really wanted to explain like how we could use that blockchain stuff in this VR world and like kind of why it makes sense. So now we get into the VR experience. And the whole the VR part is basically how do we use that information we publish in the blockchain, and how do we pull it into VR so people can experience it, right? So utilizing the heritage information published on the Bitswift public ledger and present it through a medium which educates and engages the end user, driving further interest in heritage designated locations. Think of it this way: if there's a ledger out there with accurate heritage information published to it, and there's a designated heritage publisher's account, so only this person who's authorized to change that information can. And we've all created apps that rely on that information published in our blockchain, or any blockchain. It doesn't have to be Bitswift, it could be any blockchain. What would be cool is when the designated heritage publisher's account updates a value in the registry, all of our apps connected to the registry would reflect those changes instantly. So we'd have consensus among accurate heritage information throughout all of our applications, which is super cool. So a VR experience, present the digital information for each site scene which can be observed and experienced in VR. So the way we did this was basically think of a museum inside VR. We have different scenes for each heritage location. So one for City Hall, one for Fort Henry, one for the Kingston Pen, and you start off in the spawn room in the map room. And so I'll just show you a quick video of how this looks because we don't have the headset. It's very short. I guess 45 seconds. And this is what you see when you start. You're in the map room. We have the three kind of locations, Fort Henry, City Hall. You click on the one you want to go to. You got to make sure you can actually click it. It ports you kind of into that location. There's a nice skybox. You feel like you're there. And there's a bunch of pictures. There's some maps. Just a whole bunch of awesome information about like Fort Henry. A little menu to take you back to the map room or anywhere else you want to go. Some videos here as well you can click on. As you can see, it'll start to load the YouTube video relating to this Fort Henry event. Unfortunately, this video has an advertisement in front of it because it's pulled from YouTube. So that is the advertisement. That's pretty much the talk, aside from a little bit extra. So improvements, like what could we have done more? I always like to improve on things. But respect to like time and lack of resources, we could have obviously added a whole bunch more content. We could have added audio. I would have loved to add audio. Helps, tool tips, explainers like while you're in there would be helpful. Hook to other projects. So I would have loved your projects to hook to our blockchain and pull that kind of same info or other info that maybe you published to our blockchain in your project. Yeah, just, you know, obviously we have more time and money, we'd be able to, more people, we would be able to accomplish a lot. Any questions?
People who are registered in your blockchain account only those records will be there in the blockchain, like in your heritage blockchain.
Yes, 100%.
Let's say Coke didn't register, and
I think Coke is registered already. You could try.
Another product.
You could try.
We can. What if some product which was not registered but which is very famous, I try to register and I registered and I can go proceed legally, right? Since
You have
registered
it's
first.
the legal system that you registering the blockchain takes precedence over the 100 years of Coca-Cola history.
No, I'm just telling some
Yes,
example.
you are.
It's like there should be some authentication need to be done, some verification need to be done before entering into.
You should use your best judgment and not put stuff in there that obviously is copyright or belongs to somebody else, because guess what? If you do that, if you put something illegal in there or something that's not yours and you say it's yours, it's there permanently. Actually, I spelled heritage wrong when I uploaded something. I spelled it heritage. And that's in there forever. I cannot change it, I cannot modify it, and forever I look like a fool. Being at a heritage hackathon, I spelled heritage wrong. It's actually there. So, like, obviously don't take Coca-Cola's logo, put it in there and say, that's my logo. Coca-Cola is gonna go, oh yeah, well, hey, look at the blockchain. This guy uploaded that at that time. He's saying he owns it, he doesn't, right? But at the same time, you can put whatever you want in there. You know, if you're an artist, it'd be a good idea to publish your artwork in the blockchain and prove you own it. Like, why not? If you're a musician, put your music in there, or at least the hash of the music to prove you own it before you release it, right? It's a very cheap way to go about like preserving information, stamping that information, protecting information. Actually, I kind of calculated to publish all the Kingston municipality's heritage registry information, the current registrar information into our blockchain, it would cost about $7. So I don't know what they're paying currently for like centralized server hosting and backups and all this other stuff that they probably need to maintain it. But I can probably assure you it's more than $7. Any other questions? And hopefully I answered your question. So yeah, here's something kind of cool. I actually know the owner to Sir John's Public House, now called the Public House because there was like this whole ordeal there. But the building's actually kind of known for being a heritage building, although it's not designated officially as a heritage site. It used to be Sir John's office. And yeah, we got some gift certificates. So if you go on our blockchain, you create an account. On our blockchain, I've created a sub-currency called Heritage Points that I'll give you. And not only will I give you the heritage tokens or heritage points, I'll also give you a $10 coupon to Sir John's Public House, or just the Public House. And then not only that, you can take the tokens, the heritage tokens I gave you, and trade them on our blockchain, on our peer-to-peer exchange, meaning the trade happens between me and you, or you and whoever else. There's no middleman involved. And then you can trade them for Bitcoin. And who doesn't like Bitcoin? Especially when the price keeps going up. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Credits Elizabeth, Alex, myself, and Tosh is not here. Tosh is remote. He helped a little bit with things, and I thought we'd mention them there. Together, you can see here, Bitswift consists of a decentralized team of technical talent. Team members leverage each other's skills to create meaningful products and services intended for business applications. And that's the whole idea behind Bitswift ecosystem, is a network of independent contractors, a network of like-minded people who are passionate about tech to come up with like cool projects for business. And I definitely see how we can extend what we created to make it applicable for maybe a museum or some history thing. You know? Thank you very much. If you want to take a picture of the last slide, I do work on a whole bunch of other stuff. I got a tech company in town here. We have the blockchain, Bitswift.io, which focuses all on our blockchain stuff. Bitswift Network, which is more blockchain stuff. Bitswift Cash, which is a community-driven model for a universal basic income on our blockchain. We should all participate. And Bitswift Shop, which actually you can use cash tokens, Bitswift tokens, to buy laptops, desktops, tablets, whatever you want from our shop. We accept cryptocurrency, and we like it.